Hi, I hope that things have been better with you, dear learners. Many learners still complain about the lesson you see on the whiteboard, the passive voice, which is implicitly a very easy lesson. Today, God willing, I'm gonna give a brief and relevant explanation about that lesson so that I can make it clear and easy for you to make any change from active to passive voice. If you can give a promise to memorize 4 elements. Number 1, the list of irregular verbs. Number 2, the form of tenses, all tenses. Number 3, subject and object pronouns. Number 4, and the last, verb to be in all tenses. Believe me, if you master the use of these 4 elements, you will make any change from active to passive voice successfully. Are you ready? Let's get started. Well, dear learners, I introduce exclusively 4 main steps to change a sentence from active to passive form. Alright? Here is a sentence on which we are going to do our steps. These are the steps. Let's go over these steps. First step is this: reverse places of subject and object of the sentence mechanically. This is a sentence in active form. The subject is Ali, verb writes, and object is a sentence. We reverse the places of a sentence, which is an object, becomes subject in passive form, and Ali, subject in active form, becomes object in passive form mechanically. The step number 2, place by before the object of the sentence in passive form. That's what exactly have done. We have placed by before the object Ali. Now let's move to step number 3. So step number 3, use the past participle of the verb given in active form in the past participle. The verb write, past participle is written. We place it immediately before by. To come up to the last step, conjugate the verb to be in the tense given in active form. Here in this sentence, we have write simple present. We need to conjugate here the verb to be in simple present regarding the form of the subject. Is it singular or plural? Well, we have conjugated the verb to be in the tense given in active form, simple present. A sentence is singular, we use is. Our sentence is done successfully. A sentence is written by Ali. Then we come up to introduce the difference between active and passive form. And we say an active form is the situation when the person or the thing indicated by the subject of the sentence is the doer or performer of the action. In other words, it's Ali who writes the sentence and not the opposite. The passive form, when the person or thing indicated by the subject of the sentence is the receiver of the action, which means the sentence is written by Ali and not the opposite. Here another example with different tense and with more than one object. When we have more than one object, we do the same steps, but we start with object number one. Reverse the places mechanically, place by before the object, and past participle of the verb given in active form, then to conjugate the verb to be in the tense given in this tense, which is simple past. Then we come up to the last, object number two, and we place it at the very end of the sentence. One thing to remind you here, subject pronoun, after the verb we change it to object pronoun. Then we elicit the rule of passive form, so subject plus verb to be in the appropriate tense plus past participle plus by plus object. Now I'd like to have your attention to some exceptions. Some students say that sometimes they find some sentences in passive form without by phrase, the same as that. Now to clarify in brief, this is a sentence: someone stole my car. Then in passive form we say my car was stolen without by phrase. Why? Because we don't know who did the action, and we say my car was stolen. Or another example, somebody broke the window. We say the window was broken, and we do not use by somebody because either the subject is not known or we don't want to know the subject, who does the action or who did the action, simply because at the very end the window was broken and we have either to reform the window or to buy another new window. Alright? That's why we don't use by phrase when the subject is not known here, or when we don't want to know who did the action. Alright? Now, dear learners, the biggest question is the following: why do we need to study passive voice? Or what does it add to us in our life? To answer that question, I want to say that nowadays you can see in everyday life, when you read books, when you watch films, whatever, you find that authors, writers, playwrights, novelists, writers of scenarios of films, critics, all of them, they prefer to use passive voice in their piece of work, simply because they send their message to their audience clearly and successfully without mentioning the performer or the doer of the action. Instead, they just place emphasis on the action. By doing so, they criticize their societies or whatever safely. The audience receives the message successfully. I hope that you have understood the lesson of passive voice. Have a nice day.